So in the last few days, a major story erupted in the country's fight against illegal mining. But also that particular story revealed the true face of the problem, the political roadblocks that have been erected in the path of good citizens and great government intention to really deal with the illegal mining problem and crisis at its very foundation. Reared its ugly head again, and this happened in Hwidien, where the NIMOS team, led by a military officer, were nearly lynched. And we've seen this before. We're going to talk about that because the state has moved very quickly to try and deal with the individuals accused, the politically exposed individuals, including one member of parliament, indeed, who have been accused of being central to this near lynching incident in Hwidien. The reason why this conversation is important, we are pausing tonight to look at it, is because it is at the heart of why we have failed as a country to deal with this illegal mining problem. And that is why we need to look at it. I'll come to some of the key things for you to look at. One of the key things to examine is that this is not an isolated incident. This incident that happened in Hwidien, where the NIMOS team, led by a military officer, was near lynched. It's not an isolated incident at all. We've seen that before. At least we've counted at least 10 incidents in the last few years that we can trace to similar political partisan influence, inciting community folks against state agents who have been discharged into the communities to deal with the problem there. And I'll show you the trend over the period pretty shortly. I'll also take you to the Hwidien area and also give you a sense of why that area is such a Galamsey concentrated part of the country. And while we were not surprised when we saw this play out there, we've left that Galamsey problem in Hwidien to fester for so long. As we say, they have grown into monsters ready to eat us up, even as we are tempted to deal with the problem. At least 10 cases we've counted so far as far as this matter is concerned. Similar attacks on state agents. You remember in January 19, we talked about the Anglo-Gold Ashanti clash. Illegal miners are becoming very bold now. They're not only doing it and running away when the armed state agents invade their illegally acquired concessions, if you can even call it that, to effect arrests and to prosecute them, possibly. In the past, they used to run away when the agents come in or when they get a tip-off that state agents were coming in, they will run away. Now, they stand their ground and they fight back. So the face of the problem is evolving very, very quickly, and it demands a sterner approach to this. Some have said you need to be far more ruthless in the way you tackle the problem. And you must commend the NIMOS team, the Operation NIMOS team. You must commend them. And the officers who led the team must commend them. Because they were calm under pressure. They were armed because they had hundreds of community folks who were mobilized, allegedly by the member of parliament, to attack them. And yet, they never fired a shot. And that is highly commendable. It is incredible that they escaped, because we've seen the case of Major Mahama, who was lynched in the similar circumstances. And again, we were told then that he had a sidearm, that he didn't even fire. It was the ultimate sacrifice, and it could have happened again. So when we hear the military is bloodthirsty, and that they do not respect human rights, and all they do is just to bundle Ghanaians into vehicles and assault them, and do not respect their rights, our rights as citizens and those not in uniform. This story challenges that perception, right? And we must applaud them, because we've seen that happen over the period. And they would have known. The forestry officer who was attacked at a thing shelter build, Takwa Forestry Commission officer also attacked. We have Hannah Bisu's case. And again, Hannah Bisu's case was very well documented, because we were there with her in the forest when this was playing out. And indeed, in this case, there was the allegation that police officers blocked the road so that it prevents them from escaping, so that the Galamsey tags, supported by some community folks, can lynch them. It was a shocking revelation indeed. Again, we don't know what has happened to that, but we'll revisit that today because we have to put all this together for a conversation tonight on the back of what has happened in Hwidien. And then we saw the police attacked in Galamsey South. Assembly member leads attack on IGP task force. Again, an allegation of a local leader who was mobilizing instead of dealing with the problem. He himself became a center of the problem. And the NIMOS team in Hwidien attack, which is what we are talking about. So this is not isolated. It's happened at least 10 this year alone. And we need to pause and have a big conversation about what has happened because we haven't been talking about that's part of the problem, where you have political actors, people we had entrusted with leadership roles who are supposed to help deal with the problem themselves becoming part of the problem. It's a big deal indeed. And these two gentlemen here have been accused. And I must say, he fundamentally is a man in the eye of the storm. Ebenezer Ado, MP for Esitufi North, he categorically denies all the allegations against him. And indeed, yes, he is innocent until proven otherwise. He has been arrested today by the police. He was quickly and swiftly arraigned before court. He was charged. His plea wasn't taken, but he says he is innocent of all the charges. And now he's just been let go on bail. He had to meet bail conditions. Again, the Speaker of Parliament was informed. He swiftly gave the permit for the police to indeed do their jobs because, he's a system member of Parliament and sometimes that becomes a hurdle. So again, the Speaker did a great job, moving very quickly, allowing the police to do their jobs, picking him up, arresting him, processing him and filing him and arraigning him before the courts. On the floor of Parliament today was a big issue. The MPs had to talk about it. The Speaker was clear that he wasn't going to shield anybody involved in this heinous crime, the terrorism that is being waged against us all as far as environmental terrorism is concerned. And he has been caught in the middle of this. He denies it. We grant him that. But the law is taking its course. But we hope this is not a small screen to file these charges against him, take him to court, have him bailed, so we'll stop talking about it. We're going to keep a close eye on this matter until we get to this logical conclusion. The police are very clear that the preliminary investigations show that he was involved, and that is why they have charged him. We'll see how this pans out today. But indeed, we've seen the law enforcement agencies acting. The IGP himself, in fact, today on the floor of Parliament, the Majority Leader, Mahama Yaga, disclosed that it was the Interior Minister who had called him yesterday to tell him about this, and that he was needed because the IGP needed to move. The Speaker was informed, and swiftly the order was given for the police to do their jobs, and he was, as a result of that, at the CID today, he has been formally charged and quickly placed before court, which really you must commend the police for again. So a lot is happening here, several moving parts, but we don't want to treat this as an isolated incident, right? Because this is one of the things that could significantly jeopardize our fight against illegal mining, the war. He too, Collins Dauda, because he mentions his name, Collins Dauda, former minister, and I understand today that he actually was not in the jurisdiction, he was in South Africa, if I heard correctly from the floor of Parliament, but he mentions his name, that he had called him to speak to the NIMOS leader, and he was acting on his orders, right? He has also denied it. On the floor of Parliament today, the Majority Leader says when he was spoken to, he called himself from wherever he was, the Majority Leader, and he denied categorically that he had no clue what this man is talking about. So somebody's lying here, and hopefully in the court of competent jurisdiction, we'll find who was lying. And we don't want this to be a smoke screen, by the way, to let them off the hook. And we've seen the allegations that have been made by the police. The police have investigated it a bit. They've spoken to the military officers. They intercepted illegal miners. That's what we're told. 3 pistols, 21 rounds of ammunition were seized. You have the Ebenezer Ado, this MP in question. The police say he incited about 600 men to attack the Operation Naimos team, and Ado has been invited by the CID and arrested, as I've told you already. So that's what we know from the police. And then you hear from him himself. He's denied every allegation against him. He says he was on his way to a funeral, and that Collins Dada asked him to speak to the commander. Well, Collins Dada denies that. So something very interesting is happening there that needs to be resolved. The Speaker of Parliament has acted very swiftly and says he's not going to shield anybody in the matter. But this is the area in question. And we're looking at the geospatial map here to give us a sense of what is happening there. You notice there 294 acres there, out of which 222 football fields, we understand, have been wiped out because of illegal mining. Let's pause for a second. This is an ecologically sensitive area in Hwidien. The area there that we've marked out for you is the area that the illegal miners have decided to invade, as a result of which 222 football fields of previously pristine forests have been damaged. So that clearly is a problem. And that is why the Naimos team had invaded the place to deal with the environmental terrorists. And then, as the allegation goes, as the police say, a member of parliament then mobilizes 600 men in the community to attack a legitimate national security operation that will save us all. That's an allegation. He's denied. But there are fundamental questions there to still ask, put in a bigger context. We'll talk about that when my guest set for a conversation tonight. And the campaign can't stop. The campaign against illegal mining cannot stop. My guest after this. And thanks for staying with us here on PM Express. It's always brought to you by Syntax Tanks. It is strong, it is tough. Academic Times and Pepsi and Cavity Fighter. Let's talk water tanks. And do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it isn't the correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntax Tanks, is a champion of water tanks. It's strong and durable and built to handle our Ghanaian weather, rain or shine. Syntax Tanks are strong. They are tough. Now, Academic Times journal is launching pretty soon with 3 distinctive graphic publications in a journal that will showcase and empower students across all educational levels, while the journal and the tertiary G seeks to ensure that tertiary students' research makes an impact. And that's why you need to look out for it when it is launched. And then you have the Pepsi and Cavity Fighter, which I recommend to you tonight before you sleep, because you've been eating sugars. They get trapped in your teeth tonight, and they can cause diseases and, in some cases, foul breath. So brushing your teeth is non-negotiable. And brushing your teeth with a Pepsi and Cavity Fighter is critical. It's an essential indeed. And because it's going to make your teeth 10 times stronger, Pepsi and every smile matters. My guest joining me for a conversation tonight, Senor Hosi, is a member of the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining, who joined me in the studio pretty shortly. Adam Bona is with the Small Arms Commission. He's executive director there. Elikem Kotoko is the deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission and spokesperson of Naimos. We have also joining us tonight is Akwesi Konadu, the deputy ranking member on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee, and he's important because this matter has parliamentary links to it, which the Speaker was trying to deal with today. We know the MP in question has been arraigned and charged and granted bail. Nanja Sanja is the Vice Chairman of the Lands and Natural Resources Committee too, and he also joins us for a conversation. So I'm delighted that all gentlemen have joined me here. But Erasa Saridonko is also with me, he's my colleague, and he's been following this development very closely. I remember he is, as you know, when it comes to reporting on illegal mining activities across the country, he is Ghana's foremost police, if you like, on the matter, because he's done quite a bit exposing the extent of the problem. And Erastus, as of tonight, let me just quickly update our viewers on what has happened. We know that the MP in question was arraigned. It was a matter that the Speaker himself had to be involved in, and the IGP had requested through the Interior Minister for him to be arrested. The Speaker of Parliament gave the go-ahead, and he was arrested. He spent the day largely at the CID headquarters, so he wasn't in Parliament today. And subsequently, we heard again announced on the floor, whilst parliamentary sitting was happening, through Mahama Yarigat that the police have arraigned him before court. It was very, very swift indeed. He himself issued the following statement. I'm talking about the MP in question. Issued the following statement. It says, the Honorable Ebenezer Kwekuado, the Member of Parliament for Esutifi North, duly complied with the invitation extended by the Ghana Police Service and was subsequently arraigned before the Circuit Court in Accra. He was arrested formally and then arraigned. The court did not take his plea upon the representation by the police that further investigations are ongoing and that, in effect, the investigative period stands unofficially extended pending the conclusion of those inquiries. The court accordingly admitted him to bail. All conditions were duly satisfied. They didn't give us the details of the bail conditions, and we haven't seen a police statement that clarifies that. And he has since resumed his parliamentary duties in accordance with law. Now, Honorable Ado is and remains innocent, he says, of all allegations leveled against him unless and until the court of competent jurisdiction determines otherwise. Now, we must say that the police would not have taken this step, especially when it has to do with a member of parliament, a sitting member of parliament. They wouldn't have taken this step at all if they were not certain that they were on firm, solid ground when it comes to the allegation against him that he instigated, he incited the community, mobilized more than 600 young people to attack the NIMOS team that were on the ground. Erastus, what more can you tell us? I mean, I find it fascinating that he's so categorical about the denial, but the police is also very firm in their belief, and reason why they've charged him very quickly. You've been following this up, and you have some additional information on this since this broke. What can you tell me?
From what I have learned and through my investigation, and I keep on saying that if the MP had not gone to the site with over 20 heavily built men, this whole incident we are talking about wouldn't have happened. It would just have been another NIMOS day arresting some illegal miners and handing them over to the police to be processed for court, and that would be it. But it's because he went there with some men and demanded that they remove the handcuffs from the people they have arrested, including one foreign national, a Burkinabe national. When they refused, and they said, we will only take them to the Hwidien police station. If you have any issues, go to the police station. Then they followed. He and the men he brought followed the NIMOS task force to the police station and made similar demands. And I'm clear in my mind, that is where the police knew. Even there, he was making those demands that they should be released. And in fact, he stood there until the suspects were forcibly released. And as we speak, I don't know whether they've been rearrested, but they were released before the mob cleared the space. So if he had not gone to the site in the first place, there wouldn't have been any talk of what we are talking about today. It would have been just an ordinary NIMOS day. Now, let me tell you about what they were doing at that particular site. They were doing what we call leaching. Leaching is done with a sizable amount of cyanide, which is very, very toxic to the environment. And what they do is that they use cyanide plus certain acids. And those acids in containers are still in the custody of NIMOS, serving as evidence. And that is what they were doing in the community, which of course put the entire community at risk of contamination. And so it was timely. It was good that NIMOS went there. And I think by now the police should also be looking after to rearrest the people who were engaging in this illicit act without any license whatsoever. So that is what we know for now. And I know there have been denials and all that, but there are videos. In fact, there are videos which shows the men he went to the site with and the point where he was calling the Honorable Collins Dowda and indicating to the commander that it was Collins Dowda who sent them.
Well, we know tonight, courtesy the majority leader on the floor, that Collins Dowda has categorically denied it. He says he has no clue what the man is talking about, what the MP is saying.
Well, it remains to be seen, and I am happy that a probe has been initiated into this. NIMOS has the opportunity to present the evidence that they do have. There are witnesses to this. Some of them we have listened to. They will also present their argument. And at the end of the day, when we get to the bottom of this, I think the punishment should be, if indeed they are found culpable, to serve as a deterrent to people who in future will want to tread that path.
Yeah, I mean, Russell, thank you very much. Elikim, I mean, this area in question is a forest that you have responsibility for. And we've just been looking at the geospatial mapping, and that tells us a story of what is happening. We'll come to that challenge. I wonder, you must have had some briefing since the 9-month operation. Tell me what you've been told.
Thank you, Erasmus, and thank you.
Yeah,
Evans.
No problem. Erasmus is the man who's done all the work.
And it's because in my mind I intend to commend him for all the work he's doing.
Erasmus has been doing fantastic work. It's okay if you call me Erasmus. I'll take this one. I'll take the shine. I'll take his name on my.
Yeah, I think this whole scenario, it's something that definitely was not anticipated, though. But incidents of this nature are things that we are fighting. And after the whatever happened, I have had a few engagements with the team, and even specifically with Colonel Boer.
Okay.
And he didn't mince words. He said, bro, it was just the mercy of God.
Yeah.
And if you saw
the videos,
even this short video, I have asked 3 questions. What if the police had not been able to exert some level of control? What if the chief imam, whose vehicle was even vandalized, had not provided
the cover
for
them to, in fact, he sort of took them out.
Exactly. And what if the military or the 9-month task force thought of what happened to Major Mahama and decided to say this level of aggression now requires maximum
force? Because they were armed.
They were armed.
And I mean, I find we must really commend them.
Yeah.
I mean, you just imagine. And by the way, I've heard military, security operatives and analysts say all the time, the military, they are trained to kill. I mean, they don't shoot to maim.
No.
They shoot to kill.
That is it.
So that's their training.
Yeah.
So for you to imagine a military officer who is fully armed and attack from 600 plus young civilians, and yet they kept their calm.
When they are holding weapons that at the firing of one, bullets can run through maybe 4 or 5 at
people,
a time.
Yeah, of course.
And
they are trained to use it.
They are trained to use it. Look, and at any opportunity I get, I want this to serve rather as a warning to our traditional authorities and especially to our youth. We need to educate our youth to stop this childish bravado of thinking that when we are in a number of 50 or 70, we can outnumber 5 soldiers or this or that. They are armed, they are trained, and let's not forget that they are state weapons.
Yeah.
Every military person you see is an asset and a state weapon. So when he comes under such kind of intense pressure, and as human, he would also want to protect himself. And self-preservation is always key.
Yeah.
And I must commend them. So this was what happened. And when I heard of the incidents, in fact, let me state here, Honorable Comrade Ebenezado is a very good friend. Very good friend. And I recall during the limited registration exercise, myself and the late Dr. Samuel Sapon were in the region and had to engage them in the constituency. A very fine gentleman by all standards, but who I know him to be. And so I do not know what exactly warranted the continuous narrative of what we're told transpired. And I find it to be unacceptable. And so, fortunately, I am happy with the swiftness of how matters are going.
But
I must say,
your kennel, I say your kennel, but I mean, you work together. I mean, the NIMOS chief.
Yeah.
he confirms that it was Ebenezer Addo.
Yeah.
He confirmed that it was Ebenezer Addo who led the mob.
That he didn't mince words with that. He said so, that he came with a certain number of those people. And that gave the other people some charge. They felt also, okay, all right, then let's... And so I believe
Did he say that he came in with intention to get the mob to stop them from doing their work?
I want that...
Because he seemed to suggest
yes.
that, and again, he brings in Collins Dada's name.
Yes.
That Collins Dada had called him to get him to talk to the commander about something, right?
Yes.
Collins Dada had denied that, by the way.
Yes.
This was said on the floor,
Yeah.
so if the floor is the Parliament's House of Records.
Yeah.
What was his narration again exactly to you?
The narration was that, introducing yourself, I'm the member of parliament for so and so.
So he introduced himself?
This is the constituency of so and so, and he's on the phone and would want to say a word or something. And Kenobua said, in the line of duty, there was no need to talk to any other body. And don't forget that at the first launch of the first group of the NIMOS task force in Sunyani, the member of parliament for Elembele, the caretaker minister of Science, Energy, Environment, Science and Technology, and the minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Emmanuel Amabua, made it very clear to them that do not take any instructions from any so-called big man. It will be destructive. And the only big man is the president of Ghana, who is the one clothing you or empowering you to go out there to execute the duties given you. And so Kenobua, knowing that, what if maybe, let's assume that while he said, there's somebody on the line, talk to him, and he takes the call and is the minister, and the minister would have said, you know what, that would have still distracted his work. And so he did what is very professional by saying, I do not want to have any such engagement. Let me discharge my duty. And in fact, let me tell you today what I do, for instance. When I go out there on any kind of operations, and I know that maybe there's been some arrest or some illegal logging or any of this, the moment I'm on that mission, my phone doesn't go off though, but I don't pick any calls.
Because
I know that I may have calls that will say, Elikem this, Elikem that. And so and let me say this here again, Evans. President Mahama means it when he says that he is here to reset Ghana. Mm-hmm. And let nobody take it to be just a mere mantra and to assume that they can get away with murder or anything because of... No, I believe where we've gotten to today, even if you are so related, even by blood, to President Mahama, and you are found culpable, or he smiles with you every morning and every afternoon, every evening, and you are found culpable to have been engaged in anything, he will deal with you. And you see, this is a serious test case because if this matter is not resolved immediately, what it means is to embolden those on the other side. Then tomorrow, what it means is that NIMOS may go to another community, and the community people will always outnumber them and say, and then they are only 30 nearby. They are about 30. Okay, let's marshal about 150 people. We can overpower them. And people will be engaged in this reckless and, excuse my language, a very stupid conduct. It cannot be counted. You see?
So from the Forestry Commission's point of view, do you explicitly condemn the actions of this member of parliament? Because now you've confirmed from the 9 months.
No, we condemn that. And you see, our concern is not about even the member of parliament at all. Our concern is about those doing that activity in that. But anybody who acts as a fringe associate, etc., to them is equally condemned. So we condemn every act in this form because this is what is destroying our forest.
So are you surprised to read a statement where he's so categorically still denying, even though the police have been categorically, you yourself have verified?
Well, the police also, you see, so the police and the NIMOS narrative...
They work together.
Yeah. And so when he also has made his commentary or issued his release, it is only to further say that we must give credence to him as he also has the right to issue a release and say what he thinks is what happened. We can still say that, yes, maybe NIMOS has said this, the police has said that. He's also right in some way. There may be some misjudgment based on body language or action or whatever. But everything will be looked at when there's an investigation now going into it. And let me commend the police and further say categorically that let me commend the regime for this. In the past, some of these things were usually just swept under the carpet. And it only tells further that the police can really discharge and do their duties if given the free hand to actually...
And some information we got from the floor of Parliament today by the Majority Leader was that the IGP first calls the Interior Minister. And the Interior Minister then calls the majority leader. Majority leader then says, okay, then informs the speaker. Speaker, and these are all NDC actors. From the interior minister to the majority leader to the speaker himself, we know where he stands on the matter. And all of them agreed that the IGP must act and go and get your man. He got his man, and very swiftly, whilst Parliament was happening today, Mama Ega announces that whilst we are sitting today, the man is in court. He's been arraigned already, charged. Real time live update. Very, very swiftly. Senor.
Muma JMO say o say niwa Muma JMO say o say ye. Now we have a head of state, not a ceremonial president. We have a real president. He's showing his power, and this is what we expect of proper leadership. As for that man, I don't want to see. Don't put him on his screen. It's not even worth your screen. You can write his statement. Don't put his picture on your screen. We all vex. What is this? I'm so impressed by the swiftness of His Excellency the President. When you defy his men, who are at the forefront of the most important fight of this country, you are defying the directives of the commander-in-chief of this country. So I was waiting to see. After today, I would have been able to tell whether we have a president or we don't. And he has saved that office by his act. This is the form of leadership we've always been looking for. And I hope that this will not just be one flash in the pan, but this will actually be the pan itself. And everybody will realize that for Galamsey, there's no tolerance for nonsense. When Boa spoke, he told the people that the biggest man has sent you, so there's no big man to talk to you. The biggest man, His Excellency the President, has sent you. JM, I salute you. Today they make me happy, but this is just the beginning. Just don't do it like comedy. There's more to do. You have to sack that guy from your party. That guy must be moved from the party. So you should know that you are a party executive. You keep these miscreants moving around, denigrating the reputation of your party, and you keep it. And I'm waiting for Mosquito. He wants to chop president. If you as chairman, you don't take action, we are waiting for you. As for, what's his name, Deborah, we can see that this is part of his action. With His Excellency the President.
But you agree with me that due process is being allowed to take.
My brother, start your due process in your own house. Why?
But Senor raised an important point.
Yes.
Right? The criminal investigations can go on, but internal disciplinary action. There's a clause in your constitution that talks about exposing the party's reputation to disrepute. That clause can be activated.
Yeah, but that can be
and start an internally disciplinary procedure.
That can be upon the finding or the outcome of what process is ongoing. And just as we all know that even before law, our little pocket law tells us you are innocent until proven guilty.
No, but that is why you should initiate your own internal investigations as well. Because wrongdoing is not necessarily illegal doing. Illegality.
The matter has already been dealt with at the very highest echelon. And so that I'm sure you agree with me. My brother, your party should take a serious exception to it. Send a signal to your membership. And I want to see a statement from your national executives. The party is the same.
Led by your chairman.
The party is the same.
He should issue a statement and actually call for the investigations to be expedited.
No.
Put your voice inside the matter and let them know beyond that you will take action on the guy.
I understand him though, but you see, you need to understand.
And I expect the MPP people.
I'll come to you.
Okay. And I expect the MPP people to also issue a statement in this regard.
They have. MPP, they have.
They have.
Yeah.
Have you read it? Why are you not reading their own?
I'll read the end of the statement. But they have. They've condemned it in no uncertain terms also.
Yeah, but they should commend the action that has been taken so far. But the only thing I heard is 150,000 bill that they give the man. That one day, I don't agree, but I can't blame GM for it. It's the cost that we have to deal with. But I don't agree at all. To me, we put 50 million cities on it. Say, look at the amounts of money that we are putting on people's heads. Somebody has done a thing like this. The kingpin that the president has been talking about, here are your kingpins. Here are your kingpins. Put them and line them all up.
No,
line them all. Look at the man's face. Remove his face from your TV. This is Joy FM. You don't denigrate your station. Don't put this face on. We have to make this kind of behavior embarrassing. Because, my brother, you sat here with me the last time. Yeah. You saw the data. People are eating poison. Look at the water that people are living with. Look, we must be people with a heart. And these are the people sitting in parliament. When I tell you that Galamseyers have captured our parliament in many ways, you think I'm lying.
Yeah, Elikem, please address, because you are a party executive, address the concern he just raised about the party starting your own internal disciplinary proceedings against
I think it is early this year to immediately want to rope in the party to also play that very active role when the party is aware that it is the same party that is in government. And so when government is taking an action, it is the same party taking an action.
Hold on. So look at the actions that have gone on right now. Think about it. The leader of your party, who is currently the president, right?
Yes.
Sent a directive. He told all your people to stay away, didn't he? Hasn't he held a meeting with everybody?
Yes,
even before this 9 months long?
Which he did. He has.
He has given you a directive.
Yes.
And you see this clear action. You are breaching the directive of the leadership of your party. Whether it was illegal or it was not illegal, it was wrongdoing. It is a breach of the directives of the leadership of your party. That grounds alone is a ground for us to start our conversation. And I'm telling you that as a party, you are a policy house.
Yeah.
You understand? You're not just an election machine, which unfortunately these all our parties, masquerading as serious political parties, have become. You are a policy house. So once your leadership has taken something as an executive, it's a different matter. But as an organization, you expect a certain order and discipline. You should issue a statement by now, condemning these actions and further directing all your membership to stay away from these kinds of conduct.
It's not,
and I expect that leadership from his from the chairman of your party, including yourself.
No,
yeah.
In the first place, it's not about the urgency in the speed of delivery.
It is about the urgency.
No, it's
people are dying by the minute.
So let me hear this.
Not to waste about that.
And
number two, don't forget that the administrator of the party is the general secretary. And so the general secretary will be the one to be abreast with even all of this.
Okay, talk if the road is your front.
Before he can now say, okay, having been briefed well about these, I think, and don't forget that the processes are still just ongoing. It was just today that we are finding out what
action. That is the swiftness
that
will send the message on the spine of people.
So action should be taken to a level before the party can now even come and say, okay, now with the majority leader or the speaker doing this, with this process being taken by the police, we may now
those processes can be mutually exclusive. They must happen at the same time.
Not necessarily.
And by the way, does his conduct, because you have verified this, you've spoken to Naima, does his conduct bring the name of the NDC into dispute or not?
In some way, yes.
What other way?
When I tell you in some way, it is because, you see,
you have condemned the guy's behavior.
I have condemned it, and I'm telling you. But that is why I made it clear to you again that you had Ivan say that he even issued a release, right? He also said his side. Did he in any way say he condoned in any way? No. And so some bit of this is now finally left to the process to unravel what the exact status is.
And I'm saying that.
So you do not want us to crucify entirely.
No, relax.
Yes.
What you are going to pursue is illegality.
Yes.
Pursuing illegality and wrongdoing are not necessarily one and the same. But some things may be legal or may not be illegal, but yet be wrongdoing and a breach of process. Let
me give you an example. Let's assume without admitting that he came in there.
Why do we have to assume without admitting when you have admitted already?
No, I'm bringing a hypothetical.
Very briefly.
So let's assume that he came there with even 30 men. What if those 30 men are his random guys he ran around with in town? Not necessarily.
But that's not what happened.
No,
you have going to interfere?
No, I'm just saying, the reason I'm telling you that you must allow for a certain process to reach a point before you can be so conclusive to now say that A is confirmed, B is confirmed. A could be confirmed.
Okay, so is the party looking into this or not?
Yes. The party will. The party, that's what I'm telling you. That
now
it
you
was just no. I have not denied from
the way you are getting long distance.
What I was
because he is a member of parliament only because he is a member of the NDC.
Yes, but remove that guy from parliament.
The party must act.
Remove him from.
No, but that is why I'm telling you that it is not just by noon today, for instance, we found out the decisions taken by the very people at the top to agree and all of that. So imagine, let's assume that had not even happened, and you wanted the party to have come out immediately with a...
The party... Look, let me tell you. Listen,
you may have...
At the next election, Elikem, and please, the people writing there, it's Elikem. It ends with an M, not an N. Yeah. Our names are special. It has meaning. Don't spoil our names. Look, the party is going to run for elections in 2028.
Exactly.
GM is not running.
Yeah.
You must always, at all times, put your party and its abilities to survive and meet the expectations of Ghanaians ahead of even GM in his own thinking. He has his own personal legacy to live and to build. He owns the NDC nothing. He can leave the party, he will still be president. But MP, you can't do that. So you as a party, whether GM is going left or right, you have to keep your narrative straight so that Ghanaians can have confidence. I'm just telling you, can continue to have confidence in you.
Good.
So don't say GM is doing something, so you are not doing it. No, I don't agree with you.
You see, you are losing sight.
You must state your policy stance on every matter. You should be able to come and disagree with JS.
Gentlemen, hold on.
Just a quick
one for a second. Yeah, briefly.
When a certain president once said, "I'm prepared to put my presidency on the line,"
I beg. Don't stop that.
Let him make his point. Let him make his point. Yeah.
When the president said that, today, what do Ghanaians say about that? Does it affect the MPP or not? So whatever action the president takes is in line with the interests of the party.
I'm saying that the party.
Let me bring in my guest
of
Zoom.
GM.
Yeah, Elikem.
Support him when you agree.
Elikem, just a second. Let me bring Kwesi Konedu. Kwesi Konedu is a deputy ranking on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee on the MPP side. The party has issued a statement today. Kwesi, so have you been briefed yet at the committee level?
Evans, let me say a very good evening to you, and I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear, yes.
Thank you very much. No, we haven't been briefed yet.
Okay.
Currently, Honorable Collins Dada is the chairman of the Lands and Natural Resources Committee, and he was away in South Africa.
Yeah, and his name was mentioned. From the majority leader, if you were in Parliament, you have heard Mama Yaga say that he spoke to Collins Dada. In fact, Collins Dada called him, and Collins Dada denied.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was in Parliament when the whole matter came up, when the Speaker brought the matter up for discussion. And I think he was only reaffirming the point that he made during the opening of our first session this year, when he said that he was not going to shield any member of Parliament who will be involved in illegal mining activities in this country. And therefore, if any person of that nature is found to be culpable of that, he wouldn't mind making sure that that person loses that person's seat. But Evans, you see, what is happening currently is that we are at an ecological time bomb. We are sitting on an ecological time bomb. When our forest resources are going, almost everything, plants, native plants, animals, and all of these things are going, aside our river bodies and the rest. But the action or the events of our last is nothing more short of people trying as much as possible to relay what they promised whilst in opposition, but presuming or pretending at that point in time, wanting to care about the environment. So there is nothing that is happening that is new. And I say this, and I would want to give you an example. My brother Elikem wanted to have brought in the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, saying that he was putting his presidency on the line. Whilst he was putting his presidency on the line then, you were in the pits, promising the young Ghanaians that you are now telling us to go and educate. That when you come back, the mines and the pits and this gentleman who used to be at Minerals Commission will go back there and he knows, and therefore you are going to have it. Now you are in power and they want to go and have it. And now you have NIMOS, which one way or the other cannot even solve the problem we have at hand to the magnitude that we want, but it's trying. And members of your party, members of parliament are allegedly involved in it and helping to grow, create bandits. And you see, you made the point very fairly. What was his point even going to where the police and NIMOS had arrested somebody? Why do you have to go there? The police legitimately and the NIMOS were doing their job. You go there with men behind you going to ask that they will be released. Released for what? If they were innocent, the law will take its course and make sure that they prove themselves right.
And by the way, an update on that, Eraso says that the men were indeed released. We don't have an update yet if the police have rearrested them, but so they are walking free.
That is the seriousness of it. That is why I say we are trying to create a sort of bandit who would one day, in the near future, take over from us. Because you know what is going to happen? They are going to amass themselves. And this is not the first time, but this is the first time that we are having a person of prominence, and I put that in quotation mark, a member of parliament supposedly leading armed men to police station to release people. You know what happened in the Ashanti region when an assembly member was killed about 2 months ago, when some youth had tried attacking a mining concession of one of these mining firms. You see, what they were doing and why the Naimos went there. My brother Erasmus said they were using what we call using cyanide to wash the residue of gold so as to be able to get, and that is much more even serious. Now you go there, lead men, promising to go and release those individuals, and eventually ended up releasing them. But with the intervention of the imam, probably the colonel who was leading the team probably would have been lynched by his men, or they would have protected themselves, and we might be saying something else against them. I believe currently, just as my brother Senor said, that we are going to follow this matter to the letter. We are not only going to have it as a small screen that immediately they've been arrested. Currently, we don't even know the preliminary charges that have been leveled against him, neither the bail conditions and the rest. But all that we know that charges have been leveled against him, bail conditions met, and he's been released. We are erring on the side of caution, not to be definite about the matter, but for what we've seen, this is an act that ought not to be given lightly treatment at all. Because if we do, and if we don't take action, how are we, in any case, going to have that leverage, that effort to go out there again? And even the men in uniform that are forming the NIMOs will be afraid even to go back to try and protect our forest reserve first. Now
you've made the point. You've made the point as a minority in Parliament. This is something that you're going to be following to its logical conclusion. How exactly do you plan to do that?
First and foremost, now they said the matter is under investigation. We are going to follow up consistently for wherever the matter has gone to. Once the fact has been established, and you see, the point that I'm interested in is I listened to Colonel Boa and how he raised the matter of how fearful he was for his life as the leader and the commander even of the team. How do you think the men that he is leading will feel now? We are now declaring about 44 forest reserves as national security zones that require that we station military men permanently in there. With this happening even in towns and places that people can perfectly see and would have more people around, how much more we go and put these men in uniform in the forest and say that they are protecting the forest? Aren't we going to have men who will rally behind them in their numbers and go and take them out if nothing is done on this matter? We will go from tomorrow asking the police how far they've gone with the investigation and what charges have been leveled against, and equal and fair treatment. Sanya said, when Untumi's matter came, we know the amount of money that even he was being referred on the past matter, the amount of money that was set as a bail condition, as deterrent. How much more a current matter that is threatening the life of men and women in uniform, at the same time vandalizing
but the bail conditions are the sole preserve of the court. It's a discretion of the court.
Yeah, no, but I think that we ought to know. We ought to know.
Yeah, I mean,
so that at least that becomes a
he's
deterrent.
saying,
Now,
so you want
an influence.
You want to know? Just stay with me. Let me bring in your vice chairman. Nanja Sanja joins us too. Nanja, have you spoken to your chairman? I understand that he's in South Africa. Have you had a conversation with him yet? Okay, we don't have him yet. Hopefully he joins us. Dr. Adam Bona is also joining us, Executive Director of the Small Arms Commission. And as you know, a lot of these legal miners are very well armed.
This is the biggest risk.
I mean, to the national security. Mr. Bona, give me your quick reaction to what has unfolded. What have you learned yourself?
Well, good evening, and good evening to your in-studio panelists. And maybe we might have to knight Erastus Sasaredonko. I'm told Beckham has been knighted, so we should knight him as the Sir of Galamsey fighting. Congratulations to him. I think he's held his own, helping us to fight this canker called Galamsey. But the last speaker who spoke before me, I would say that at least we have an interior minister who, when this issue came to his quarters, he quickly dispatched to the police and his colleagues what needed to be done. And immediately, his colleague, member of parliament, has been arraigned before the courts and charged. And so for me, that speaks volumes. We all know where we have come from. And I'm sure Erastus will correct me if I am wrong. Erastus went with some military officers, police officers, a detachment to a certain Galamsey site. You have 7 military officers who were protecting a Galamsey facility. Military officers who were protecting a Galamsey facility. And there are several of them we had in the past. But unfortunately, talking about them amounted to really wasting your time speaking about them because nothing was going to happen. But today, the moment this issue broke, we know where this has gotten to. And we know that this certain member of parliament has been quickly arraigned before court. And so for me, it gladdens my heart that the president is leading and leading well. The interior minister is leading and leading well. And no one is going to be spared. I could see the way my brother, Senior Hossi, was heckling my colleague, Elikem, in the studio. But it is all part of the advocacy to ensure that the right thing is done. The truth is that most of these Galamseyers are armed. And from the small arms point of view, together with our minister, our supervising minister, who happens to be the minister who also ensured that this issue was referred to the police quickly. Congratulations to the police as well. This matter is in court. Quickly. I mean, the swiftest we have seen in probably the last 4 years.
Especially when it involves when it involves a politically exposed person. I mean, it rarely happens. And again, Senor makes the point.
So what I am saying is that we all know how. So the speaker before me probably let me be charitable here. Went around the issue, in a manner that probably almost politicizing it. For me, that is not how we should deal with this existential issue when it comes to Galamsey. We all know how the former president said Akunta Mines was not involved in Galamsey. If this issue of Akunta Mines, the president had dealt with it, I am sure that where we are today, the former president, we would not have found ourselves here. And so mine is that we should depoliticize Galamsey matters and deal with it as an existential issue. And so for me, now the chief servant of the Small Arms and Light Weapons Commission, my minister is doing so well. The media probably should get to know him a bit better. He wants to do a lot more in dealing with this canker. And he has a president's, backing to do it. He has Ghanaians backing to do it. So I am happy he's dealing with this issue. And you are aware that we had a declaration of amnesty. He's likely to do that on the 11th of this month, where he would declare an amnesty, gun amnesty. So because if we are able to take away guns from Galamsey pits and Galamsey sites, this issue of Galamsey probably will be able to confront it the way it should be confronted with. And so for me, a lot is being done, but let's remember, an issue that existed. Yes,
Adam Bonai, here's the thing though, and Senor was right in making the point about the president that under his leadership we've seen this action. Because of course, if we compare it to what has been the reality before, the president, the former president, when he had the opportunity, he told us that the man in question, the Ashanti Regional Chairman who wasn't involved in illegal mining, when he arrested us ourselves, we verified that he was. Yes. We've seen the cases against him. This is the second time under JM alone this year, and this is factual, where an individual, first it was a national organizer of the NDC, Joseph Yamin. And then there was a vice chairman of the party, Elikem, correct? That is, I believe, Abanga. Yes. Both of them were accused of involvement in illegal mining. They were referred by the Attorney General, who, by the way, was appointed by the president, to the IOCO. So that's the first time this happened. And then you have a member of parliament in the NDC who is using the name of the chair of the Land and Natural Resources Committee in Parliament and mobilizing people swiftly. Again, the Interior Minister, appointed by the President, gets involved, calls Parliament, secures the Speaker's permission. IGP is then given the all clear to arrest him, charge him, throw him before court. He's been granted bail. So 2 incidents. So yes, the President deserves commendation. And we've said here, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We analyze the strengths, his weaknesses. This is one of those goods that we need to acknowledge. But here's the question to you, Adam Bona. Just like in the case of Yamin and the Abanga, since the case was referred to IOCO, we we're yet to get an update on where they are with investigations. And that's my question to you about this very one, right? We have the man being sent to the court. He's been granted bail. You hear the MPP guy say, we need to follow this through so that the investigations and the charges that have been filed and the court process is not used as an excuse not to act. So that anytime you go and ask the authorities, they say, oh, but the matter is in court. And then nothing happened for 4 years. Isn't that the risk we should all be policing to ensure that it doesn't go the way of other cases similar to this?
Well, for me, you made allusions, you referred to that of Yamin and Abanga and the rest. The truth is that with this one, it's the matter speaks for itself. We've seen it. You saw it. The NIMOS, what's the name? Leader, the leader of the task force is there to give evidence. We've all seen what is going on. And so the truth is that we might not be able to treat that of my brother Yamin and Cole's own the same as this one. This one, information came out. Quickly, Interior Minister, together with IGP and everybody who must act, has arraigned him before court. The court is going to deal with it. And mine is that, yes, we should police the process and make sure that if, in fact, the evidence supports that what he did, he's at fault, the law should take its course, deal with it the way it must be dealt with. And the president has been very clear to everyone in this country, even if you are my brother and you did what is wrong, I will make sure the law deals with you. And so mine is that let's look at this away from the lens of politics. And I would hope that, politicians will treat this member of parliament who has come up now, finding himself in this whole quagmire, treat it as this is probably a crime that must be dealt with. And the court will deal with it, the police are dealing with it. Let's leave it that way, but ensure that we police it and ensure the right things are done. But from the small arms point of view, I can't talk without mentioning the small arms. Our interest is to ensure that we take out all the illicit weapons. So myself and my colleagues, together with my minister, the police, and all the other allied agencies, including, in fact, the National Security Coordinator, these are people who are working quietly behind the scene to make sure things work. And so mine is that it's just 8-10 months since there was change of government. And you can see every day something is going on. In the past, those of us who were in the space, we stopped talking. Even if you talk, Olu will say, we have Yente Wasem. We won't mind you. And so mine is that it gladdens my heart that today, a sitting member of parliament who belongs to the sitting president's side, belongs to the interior minister's side, has been arraigned within 24 hours before the law court and has been granted bail. And I heard my brother who say, Senor say, oh, the 150,000 is too small. No, this is a sitting member of parliament. And so they could have actually probably it could have been less, because for him, a sitting member of parliament cannot be compared to someone who probably is an ordinary as me. And so I think that the court, you said it, has the discretion to give bail. But mine is that 8 years of distraction. Can you tell me if one person who came into the news this way, you know what happened before elections, where, someone who wanted to be a member of parliament said the Vanguard team has been, scrapped, and therefore when you see any military officers hoot at them, throw stones at them, did we actually speak this way? We spoke. But the president back then pretended he hadn't heard us. The interior minister pretended that time he hadn't heard us. All of them pretended nothing was going on. And so mine is that, Evans, this issue is another test case.
Yeah, it is indeed. Stay with me.
Yes, it's a test case.
He makes a point about test case. It's true, right? And to the question I asked him, civil society, this is where your work actually begins. So that the court process is not used as an excuse to not pursue the matter anymore. Because sometimes it actually has become a very powerful tool to
Today
just shut all of us up.
I started by giving His Excellency the President funds. In the morning, I was at his tail. That if he doesn't show his president, then he's not fit for the office. But he has shown us that he's commander-in-chief of the country. So you are right. This is where it starts. I just hope this is not a smoke screen. The mouth that we used to give you funds, Mr. President, the same mouth that we used to finish you. You are there, you are working for all of us. You are boss over all of us. But if you abuse that thing, you are threatening me, my children, and you owe you your own children, their children, then we will deal with you. And our eyes are all on this matter. We will deal with the matter. That's why I'm telling you that your party, relax, make a talk. Your party should start taking an interest in these things. How His Excellency the President will deal with this matter will affect your fortunes in 2028. If he's not managing it well, you must distance yourself from it. Wait, the other bit is that one of the things we've not, I know that it's been somehow mentioned, but did you see the number of boys that gathered at the place?
The police station, yeah.
Did you see their faces? Did you see their eyes?
Yeah.
These were guys ready to do anything. When we talk about the risk to our statehood, this is what we are talking about. This whole thing is becoming a drag that people are latching on and is controlling. This MP found energy to do that because he knows he will be able to gather the support of the community. Mr. President, this country is losing its statehood day after day. We have to assert and reclaim this country, reorient the people. The youth just think that they're entitled to do it. And why would they not think they're entitled to do it? When they see officials being corrupt and taking their share, why would they also not think that they should be taking their share? Do you know how much these people earn? 3,000 to 10,000 cedis a week. Which job, alternate livelihood, will give them 3,000 to 10,000 cedis a week?
What are you talking about?
The Galamsey boys in the pit. I lie. Look, Collins Dawada and I were at an event recently, and I mentioned he knows it. He knows it. To deal with this, we need ruthlessness. It needs the president to be president. To be able to call a spade and know we are taking no prisoners anymore. Look at the first person who Russell says appeared at the place. DI officer. Do you know who a defense intelligence officer is? He's a member of the military. Am I right?
Yeah.
A soldier man, defense intelligence. These are one of the finest, the creme de la creme of the army. He was one of the first people, senior Galamsey man. So where are they? You are putting these pictures. These pictures is okay. We don't want to see these pictures. We want to hurry up and get them sacked out of parliament. Where is that defense intelligence man? What is the army doing right now? The army must tell us immediately, just like the government has told us, what they are doing about that defense intelligence man who showed up. Is he being court-martialed? Has he been summoned? We must know. And where is the man who bought the Toyota? The kingpins, where are the kingpins? Why are you just giving us MP? Why didn't you bring? Where are the kingpins, my brother? Where are the kingpins? You have to change your mouth.
Oh, are you okay?
No. He's not. Wait. He was.
Are you not okay if I?
Where are the kingpins?
So, senor, just give me a second.
Why do you just give us MPs? Are the kingpins?
I'll come back to you, but Akwesi, I'll come to you. I'll come to you, Eliken.
Okay.
Kingpins are what they?
Akwesi Konadu has an input to make in this, and Akwesi, let me hear you, the deputy ranking.
Thank you very much, Evans. I listened to Adam Bonner. And I was totally amazed. Senior just made a point, and I picked a phrase from it. He said, this is a threat to our statehood. And I think as the commissioner or whoever he is currently at the small arms, that is where his interest must be. But he only round around and tried calling the former president names, name calling. The risk that we are in it, he never talked about it.
That's true.
First of all, yes, he never talked about that.
He said his concern was the arms. The arms which is involved in that.
That is what he ought to be talking about. The number of arms that was even taken, he never talked about, but only be praising his minister and the rest. Yes, the minister has done work. He's called in, the person has been arranged, and he's not even finding ways to talk about the bill conditions as somebody. If you are saying that the amount of money that was just said was not enough, but you are describing that because the person is a member of parliament, and therefore it could have even been given a less amount. Aren't you even encouraging that? You are even encouraging that because if you presume Now, as we sit here, we don't even know the charges that have been offered. But Evans, to make this point very critical, before even if you want to take your mind, all of these things are being done in some sort of swiftness. I use in quotation of swiftness because you talked about the Yamin Abanga case, and now we're having this as a small screen to take away civil society and the clarion call by Ghanaians about the state of emergency. He talked about the last 8 years, we are not seeing this. The amount and the magnitude of destruction now under 8 months or 10 months is so devastating that people continuously call for a state of emergency. So all of these things are swiftly being done to divert our attention from the destruction. Oh, immediately that we recalled it. He was taken to court. He was given bail. So all our attention will be on that. But the destruction is still ongoing. Why would that number of people amass at a police station in their hundreds, 600? And we are here talking about calling somebody names, he put his presidency on the line, and that, and that, and that. What is happening now? What is happening now is so disastrous that we are at an ecological, and I'm glad my brother Elikem is there at the Forestry Commission. He knows the devastation that is being happening to our forest reserves and the resources that we even have in there. His attention must be on that, and Adam's attention must be on that. Now, probably he may have left the civil society group and now entered into government. So he probably may not see
you heard Adam talk about his focus on taking the illicit weapons from circulation. And he talks about the policy that they are coming to announce with the amnesty, after which they'll have to crack down. I'll come to that. I mean, that's on the subject for conversation right now. But he aligns his vision there and tells you what the focus is. Yes, you're right. I mean, in this very incident we are talking about, the police retrieved some weapons. Pistols, 21 rounds of ammunition, etc. were retrieved, which is what he says he's dealing with. He said that's his focus. If you take that away, you limit the problem.
You know, he did not even go into a bit of that detail. You are making it up for him, no problem with that. He never even spoke about that one. His interest, he started everything, and I categorically wrote everything here. Evans, the matter we have now is that Senor asks, where are the campaigns? That is the most important thing. The attention must be on the campaigns, as the president said when he was the flag bearer of his party. Now in government, all of these things are happening, and the individuals that are being brought in, you see, and most often than not, he brings in people. He brought in Yamin and Abanga, these were political persons, said that we will now be sitting here singing praises to him, that, oh, he's tackling his own people, But the number of people that are engaged in this is not a matter of these individuals who he knows perfectly well, especially in the first 2 instances. That's why we've not heard anything about it. This one, the only thing that probably may help is the evidence of the colonel that was leading the team. In about a day or two, you and I don't even know the charges that have been professed against the individual for us to even.
And you've told us that that's something that you're going to be demanding tomorrow.
Yes.
I want to quickly take a break. When I return, I hear from Elikem and get an answer to the question that Senor, you've also asked it to, where are the kingpins?
Where are the kingpins?
Stay with me. And still live here on PM Express, talking about the incident in Hwidien. But let's put that in context. It's not the first time we've had an incident like this where the mob attacked the legitimate state agents who were there to deal with the illegal mining problem. And Elikem, you remember the case of your own colleague, Anna Bishu. Anna Bishu herself too was doing the similar job, and she was nearly lynched too. In her case, she told the story of how the police actually had erected a barricade to prevent them from escaping when the mob had searched on them. So this is not one that is isolated. And your men in the forest who are doing the job of preserving the forest themselves have come on attack. So it's not something that we should take for granted. The question to you was, before we went for the break, the kingpins, where are they?
Yeah, before I come to that,
You want to address something that Akwesi said?
It appears anytime I'm on set with Senor, he wants
it's okay. You address it because you don't have time, actually.
Yeah.
You have just a couple
Quick
of
one
minutes.
is that the member of parliament needs to know that some of these things were instigated when they were in power. You recall the middle of June 2024 when the Amenfi East parliamentary candidate of the NPP, with a sitting member of parliament who was even the Western Regional Minister, Kobi Ochudako.
Yeah.
They had a meeting,
at a public forum.
When they had a meeting with the illegal miners, or let's call them small-scale miners, and told them that we have halted all forms of operations, and so if any military man comes to your site, fight them back and all of that. This kind of narratives coming from people who are of repute is what has emboldened some people of this nature. So he should not have the moral grounds to want to justify or say anything about government that this SWIFT Act is just in a smoke screen. I mean, that is the shallowest of submissions to make in relation to...
But you see, he said that in contest. The Yamin and Abanga case, we haven't heard anything.
No, but was it not about just 2 weeks ago that we're told that it's been referred to the IOCO?
Oh, no, long time ago.
Yeah, no, long time ago.
More than 3 months.
No.
More than long time ago.
No,
I beg. The Attorney General letter to the IOCO is about 3 months ago.
No, it cannot be. No, while I'm talking...
No, but you proceed. I didn't hear.
While I'm talking...
Definitely more than almost 3 months ago.
Now, on the kingpins, let me state here that I am convinced that Chairman Wontumi alone is one huge kingpin in this...
We caught that kingpin before you came. Chairman Wontumi, we are
so where did you send him? You caught him and where did you send him?
You are operationalizing it.
No. When did you catch Chairman Wontumi?
We, the Galamsey,
there was a specific question about the individuals involved in this Hwidien case. People, Senior was asking the question, those who brought the vehicle. You've spoken to the NIMOS leader. Where are they? Because the people involved in this beyond the member of parliament.
This is a process that is just beginning. A whole member of parliament is being brought to the process.
So the question you asked, I know that the Attorney General's referral to the IOCO was in July, 16th July.
That was July?
Yeah.
Okay. July. So that has been referred to, and we all have the right to inquire what the processes are, what has been ongoing. That everybody has the right to do so. And so I am re-echoing that I believe, as I'm sitting here, that even Chairman Wontumi alone, it's a big kingpin, known kingpin in this. It was more or less like nobody comes through the minefields except through me, Chairman Wontumi. We saw it all in... Please let me finish. I allowed you...
Briefly,
let me finish.
I just have a minute.
What are you telling me? If, for instance, let me tell you,
finish.
Under the time of President Akufo-Addo, it became very obvious that almost everybody who had to do anything had to do that through Chairman Wontumi.
100%.
And for which reason, even the president at the time could gather the effrontery to mount a platform and tell us that Akonta mining was not involved in any illegality.
In front of priests.
Yes. And so that is to tell you that even getting Chairman Wontumi alone today, to me, you have gotten the greatest of kingpins.
Thank you
now,
very much.
with what is ongoing as well, too. If there are kingpins involved, they would also be traced as well. Are you expecting that immediately?
You have arrested 1,400 people. You've arrested people right now. So where are the new kingpins outside of Chairman Wontumi that we had all identified before you came? Having said that, this is one of the most hardworking people in this fight. And I really commend and appreciate him. And I want to thank Muntaka. I went after him early days. But this action he has put this today I commend him. But still, Your Excellency the President, please, where are the kingpins?
You will be getting
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your evening.